Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael Lee Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Bucky Haas.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Today on the show, we're covering the Disney Plus television series, the black guy with the wings and the white guy with the arm.
Yeah, you know that show,
Yep.
Captain America, but not really Captain America. It's the other guy. The guy that was like a sidekick, right?
The guy with the
What's
wings.
Yeah, the guy.
The fellow with the wings. And, and then there's the guy with the arm. The white guy with the arm.
He got like a metal arm that's really
Oh,
strong.
a metal arm. I just thought he had an arm. I didn't know he had a metal arm.
No, he's got 2 arms, but one is like a regular arm. The other, what, you thought the guy didn't have any arms? What?
Oh, I just thought he had arms.
Oh, well, most people do have arms. In fact, I mean that's just
Oh wait, the other fella has arms too.
Well, yes, he does. I mean, he needs to fly, so
Yeah.
He's got wings and all that stuff too.
The one lady in the show, she has arms too.
Pretty much all the people in the show have got arms. I mean, that's pretty much standard thing at this point. And Bucky, he's got that metal arms, big specials, really strong.
They're that vibranium.
Vibranium, that special metal from Wakanda or whatever it's called. Anyway.
So, anyways, folks, we are covering the second episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the current Disney Plus Marvel television series. Second episode entitled "The Star-Spangled Man." It was directed by Carrie Skoglund and written by Michael Castleline. I can't say people's names. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, people. I really am. Yes, and this originally aired on March 26th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this episode, we open up with scenes that do not include the guy with the wings or the guy with the arms. But the actor we do see has arms.
Yeah.
He's got 2 of them, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know who's got a lot of arms?
Who's that?
Doc Ock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, anyways. Back to the show. We open up with John Walker, the new Captain America, in his high school locker room. There's about to be a big celebration for the announcement of the new Captain America. Walker is visited by his wife, and basically trying to, give him the encouragement he needs to go out there and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're kind of humanizing the character a little bit. We also have his buddy, his army buddy, named what's his name? Lamar Hopkins or something? Yeah. No, Lamar Hoskins. I'm sorry. Who is like his army buddy. And he's also Battle Flag.
No, Battlestar.
Battlestar. I'm sorry. Why did I say Battle Flag? But anyways, Battlestar. Battlestar. He's played by Clay Bennett. Battlestar. He's the kind of like the sidekick. In the comics, he becomes Bucky at some point. To Walker's Captain America. Literally, they call him Bucky.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was like Captain America and Bucky was like always his sidekick in the comic books. Bucky was kind of the Robin to his Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because when Bucky was originally introduced, he wasn't like his old friend. He was like a teenager sidekick sort of thing. Again, in the comics, kind of like Robin is to Batman. If I remember my history correctly.
Okay. Your comic book history, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
you mean that's not real history?
It should be.
No, okay. Just checking.
I wish it were.
Yes, I do wish there were super soldiers around the world.
Well, good ones.
So, he appears on Good Morning America, goes out into the field. He's being interviewed on Good Morning America in the show, which is interesting, very synergenic from using synergy here for the fact that Good Morning America is on ABC, which is owned by Disney, which also owns Marvel and owns Disney Plus and owns everything under the sun and owns my right arm.
Yeah. Yep.
Can't do anything with my right arm without their permission.
Exactly. You see, your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Once again,
it's made out of vibranium. That's why I had to get my my COVID shot in my left arm, because I still own that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
what?
Yeah. My arm is made of vibranium and has a bunch of Mickey Mouse tattoos all over it. That's just something I did on my own. Anyway, so what else happens here in this episode? We got this interview on Good Morning America.
Well, he's kind of like, it's interesting. Like, they are trying to humanize him because he's really nervous. He doesn't really quite feel worthy, but maybe more so than Sam does, because Sam really doesn't feel worthy at all. But he might feel sort of worthy, but he's still like, he's basically not like a completely arrogant person. Like, he's, at least it seems like, I mean, who knows, but like, it seems like
that's at least the view he's giving to the public.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking to his wife like that, he's talking to his friend like that. So, I mean, if he is playing a con, it's a really, really long con. But, he seems like he's taking it really seriously. Like, he wants to, he wants to be the symbol of hope that, Captain America has always had. But there's just something a little off about him. Like, it's really hard. This episode's really good that way, where it's like the tiniest thing. Like, you can't really grasp it, but there's just like that. And it's not just because he's not Steve Rogers. It's just something about him that's just not quite clicking as Captain America.
And he invokes the names of Tony Stark and Bruce Banner in his interview, where he's trying to humanize himself, and he says, "I don't have the money like Stark, or the strength like Banner." Yeah. So it's kind of interesting where he's trying to humanize himself and make it be like, I'm just like you guys. I'm a regular dude.
He's doing that kind of thing, which is, that's what Steve would probably say too. But like, when, I don't know, like, this came off very rehearsed.
Yeah, it's the difference between where, I don't want to get all political here, but when Bernie Sanders says something, I believe it, but when Donald Trump said something, I didn't.
Right.
They could say the exact same thing, and I still, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that's the kind of different. He's kind of more of the Donald Trump, trying to be the facade of the everyman, even though he's not really. I don't think.
Yeah. Right. So, the interview goes on like that for a little bit. He's doing the "all shucks me," type of thing, and then we kind of go back into Bucky's kind of complaining because they're both kind of watching this interview in their different homes. So Sam's at home watching it. Bucky's sitting on his floor with no furniture like usual, watching his TV, and then Bucky basically goes to confront Sam, right before he's about to go on a mission or whatever, asking him like, why did you give up the shield? Steve gave that to you. He said that, he had faith that, you'd be able to use it. Why did you just easily give it up? And, Sam's really not having it. He's like, I don't, want to get into this with you. And Bucky just basically invites him. Oh, they do have this funny little conversation about how, all their villains are part of the big three. Was it robots, androids, wizards, or something like that?
Robots, aliens. It was like androids, aliens, and wizards. And then he says we don't have real wizards. And he's like, what about Doctor Strange? And
yeah, he's like, he's a sorcerer. Like, but a sorcerer is just a wizard without a hat. Stuff like that.
And then they bring up Gandalf, and it was funny where Sam questions him. He's like, "What do you know about Gandalf?" And he's like, "I read The Hobbit in 1937 when it came out."
Right, exactly. Because that actually came out in 1938 in the United States, 1937. So he would have had to traveled all the way to England. It's just a funny little bit of trivia.
Unless there was a store that had an English copy of the book.
Yeah, true. That's very true. So they kind of had this fun little joke, and then Bucky just invites himself onto the cargo plane or whatever, and they're just kind of staring at each other, like having this like funny little staring contest. And Sam's just not even responding to anything he's saying, like, "Oh, so what's your plan?" and all this kind of stuff. And Sam just puts in like his earbuds and just gets ready to jump out of the plane, crap like that.
And Torres is there too. And
Torres is kind of like Falcon's wingman, if you will.
Yeah.
Sort of. And then he's like, I do have a plan or whatever, and he just jumps out, which is interesting because, like, I think in Iron Man, was it Iron Man 2 or I forgot which one, or basically Iron Man says the exact same thing to someone else. He's like, I do have a plan, and I forgot what he says, but he just jumps out of the plane right after that.
He's
So that was
very
kind
Iron
of,
Man-ing it. And then Bucky asks for a parachute, and Torres tells him it's too low for the parachute.
Right.
And then he's like, "That's okay, I don't need one anyways." And he just jumped because he's a super soldier, and so he just lands on the ground like all flip floppy, and everything. So.
Right.
And then I liked the little humor there where Sam's like, "Don't think I didn't get that on video."
Right, yeah. With his what's this thing called? I forgot the name of that.
Redbird.
Yeah, Redbird.
Yeah. So they go on to this. There were scenes before that though where they were like there was these posters of John Walker that say "Cap is back,"
right,
and stuff like
all
that, which is like, ugh.
I know, it's such propaganda. It's, I mean,
and I hate to keep bringing up the whole Trump thing.
Yeah,
but it reminds me of the "Make America Great Again" thing.
Oh yeah, I mean it really does. It's very political. It's very America's number one.
Yeah.
I mean that's the reason why they even wanted to bring back a new Captain America, was specifically because the world has superheroes, but we need something that's just for us, type of bullshit.
Yeah,
it's like whatever. And it's like that's not how Steve. I mean, yeah, his name was Captain America, but that's not how he viewed himself. I mean, like, yeah, at the beginning he was doing the whole, propaganda tour at first, but he didn't even really want to do that initially. He just kind of went along for I mean, he didn't really like the whole idea where like punching Hitler and all that kind of crap, at like the USO shows or whatever.
Yeah.
He didn't even really want to do that kind of stuff. He just did it because he thought that he had to. Whereas this guy, I think he kind of enjoys it a little bit. So I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say yet. Well, hopefully they do some more development on John Walker, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
So when back to like after they land, they're going on the mission, which is to take down the Flag Smashers.
Yeah.
Which are people enhanced with super soldier serum, and they're in Munich, and they're smuggling what appears to be medicine, like vaccines or something of that nature. Wilson, through his heat detection device, identifies a possible hostage who is revealed later to be the group's leader, Carly Morgenthau, who Flag Smasher in the comics is Carl Morgenthau. So,
right, he's just one person organization.
Yeah,
well, he does create an organization, but it's not called the Flag Smasher. Yeah. That's his name, is the Flag Smasher. Which is
and it's interesting. They're fighting them on top of these trucks that they're in on a highway in a very action-packed scene. Carly smashes on her knee Redbird at one point. Then we have Hoskins and Walker show up. They basically help them fight, and it's interesting because Walker's using a gun. Steve only really used a gun in the first movie that he was in. That was during World War II, and he only used it like once in a great while.
Oh wow!
But once he came to modern times, he never touched a gun.
Oh wow!
So, because in the comics, it's implied by the fact that he never uses a gun in the movies, is that he's a protector, not an enforcer.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
So he's basically, just trying to protect people with his shield as opposed to shooting them with a gun.
Right. Well, that was kind of the whole plot of Captain America Civil War, too, is that he didn't want to, like, sign the Sokovia Accords because he didn't really want, like, government oversight and enforcing all this stuff. He wanted...
Yeah, he didn't want to be used as a weapon, basically.
He wanted to be free. Yeah, exactly. Whereas Tony felt guilty about what happened in Sokovia, so he thought, well...
Yeah. And there are good points to both sides, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
there were.
Yeah, it's a sad thing where you can't really have a definitive answer there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes civil wars exist sometimes. I mean, well, honestly, a lot of civil wars do have a good side and a bad side. Anyway, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
No.
But good conflict doesn't have a clear-cut answer usually.
Yeah.
So Walker and Hoskins help them escape, basically, through their actions and everything, and basically, Walker then he ends up requesting that Wilson join him in aiding the GRC, which is the Global Reparation Council, to quash the ongoing violent post-blip revolutions. But Barnes and Wilson refused to join that.
Right. So already we got the new Captain America kind of working for the government as opposed to, yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because you see the two teams, one white guy, one black guy on both teams, sitting in this Jeep at one point together,
right,
across from each other, and it's kind of like they're like good and bad versions of each other in a way.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of like just one is a propaganda tool, which again, both of those guys might actually be sincere, but they're being used as a propaganda tool, and the other ones are natural. They just came into their roles in a natural way. I mean, Bucky obviously was a agent of Hydra for like 60 years or something like that. Being, I wouldn't even say brainwashed, being programmed. There's a difference.
Yeah. Being
brainwashed means that you still have bought into an idea, but being programmed is literally you're being programmed. Like, like it's a subtle difference, but it's still a difference.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of scary that he had to deal with that all that time, and it was like basically he knew what was going on. Those memories that he has is
exactly. He was cognizant of all the killings he committed and shit. Yeah.
There is a point too where Walker basically says to Barnes, or not to Barnes, but to Wilson. He says to him, he's like, you could be my wingman.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
no.
It's like, fuck you. I'm, and they're talking to each other and asking, like Barnes asks him at one point, have you ever fallen onto a grenade like Steve did in the...
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Walker says yes. So it's like, what the fuck,
He says yes, but he says that he's got this helmet. So again, it's like everything that John Walker does. It's like he's just trying to mimic what Captain America, what Steve did.
Yeah,
but
not the exact same way.
It's the surface level stuff. So yeah, exactly. When Steve jumped on a grenade, he was just wearing t-shirt and his pants. He didn't have he didn't even have any kind of tactical gear on at all. And he did that to sacrifice himself so that none of the people in his crew would get hurt.
Yeah, and he was still skinny too at the time. He was before he didn't have superpowers.
So with this guy, Steve Rogers jumped on a grenade, so I should jump on a grenade too. But when I do it, I'm going to make sure that I'm protected. It's like you see everything he does is like he's just trying to mimic Steve, but do it in such a way that it's just like for show almost.
Did you want to take a quick break here, Matt, and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of the episode?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
Do that.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
And just like Cap, we are back. I don't know if I liked that, but I'm going to keep it. Because I'm a loser. So, anyways, back to the episode. Next, we have Bucky and Sam. They travel to Baltimore, where we have a cute scene on the street where a kid says to Sam, he says, "You're the Black Falcon." And he says, "Am I the Black Falcon because I'm black?" He says, "What's that make you, the black kid?"
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah. This is just Falcon.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Anyways, we go to this like rundown house with like bars on the windows and doors, and there Wilson introduces Barnes introduces Wilson, I should say, to Isaiah Bradley, a veteran from the Korean War. He's an African American gentleman too, played by Carl Lumley, who we find out is a super soldier. Bradley, they're trying to get Bradley to help them uncover information about additional super soldiers. In the serum, due to he was basically imprisoned and experimented on by the U.S. government and Hydra for 30 years. Yeah, which has its roots in our real history of where there were like these syphilis trials where African Americans were experimented on with medicine, and which turned out to be placebos and things of that nature, and a lot of people died of syphilis and they didn't find out for years.
Yeah,
there's a lot of shit like that happened.
A lot,
especially to poor people and to black people in this country, which is sad.
It's, I mean, like the Tuskegee experiments are really just like scratching the surface. I mean, like it's really fucking, yeah. I mean,
I found out about a thing where the U.S. government, MIT, and Quaker Oats put radioactive stuff in some Quaker Oats that they fed to these kids in this like in this home to test the digestion rate of their cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because
at that point they're putting radiation in everything. I mean, like they thought it was good, like it was a miracle cure. Like they put it. Yeah. I mean, literally in everything. It was ridiculous.
So good times in this country. Yeah. Let's make America great again.
Yeah.
That's why I hate that phrase. Because tell me when America was great. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting off on a little tangent here, but just tell me when it was great.
At what point? I mean, are we talking about the Tuskegee experiments? Are we talking about? I mean, like what's the era that you imagine to be, the perfect time, I guess.
We're talking about the riots in Tulsa back when. Are we talking about the Leave It to Beaver times where only white people actually mattered? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, back to the show.
Don't put politics in my comic books. Urgh.
I don't like this show because if you get woke, you go broke.
Oh my God.
Which I absolutely hate that phrase. And anybody that says it, why don't you just admit that you're a fucking bigot? And I said it.
Who said that to you? Like, where did that come from? Like,
I've heard it several times, and it's usually these middle-aged white dudes that look much like myself, but are completely assholes who don't like the fact that there's a black person or a gay person or a transgender person or something like that in their media.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering because there actually is that phrase in the show woke. The show where the guy's like a comic book creator.
Yeah, that show woke.
Yeah, because I think his roommate said something like that to him, like that's the problem. Like once you go woke, you go broke, because he was basically saying like how he was like, sabotaging like his deal with the whatever company he was doing or whatever. But that was his black roommate saying that to him, so it wasn't the same context.
Yeah, I mean it's usually people like the Quartering or whatever his name is on fucking
I
YouTube.
hate that guy.
Yeah, or people like Ben Shapiro or assholes like that who don't understand the fact that representation and inclusion doesn't mean that you're excluded.
Right.
That's the problem, and that's what it is. I mean, and back to the show. I mean, they're basically experimenting on these people. In the comics, they had this whole run. I guess it's a really good comic where they were experimenting on a bunch of black people, and Isaiah Bradley was basically at one point Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like secret and pushed, and it was basically pushed aside, and Steve Rogers never even knew about him.
Right.
And just like in this, like Steve never knew about him, because Bucky never told him about him. But in the comic books, I guess like all these African American people became like deformed, and they were experimenting on them basically to create this serum to help white people. But they didn't want to experiment on white people, So,
well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, the get woke go broke thing though. Back to that really quick. Basically, people were saying that about the TV show Batwoman.
Okay.
When they said it even before they recast the role of Batwoman with a black actress. They were saying it because there was a lesbian character, and now that there's a black lesbian, it's like, oh no, the world's gonna end. It's like, fuck.
They're just trying to force us to accept that lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're just trying to force that down our throats.
And all the people complaining, you ask them a question like, have you actually watched the show? No, they haven't.
Well, no, exactly, because I'm not going to watch it because I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want like one lesbian kissing scene throughout the entire.
And I'm seeing a lot of things like that about this show too. Even like I don't like the whole race angle and the stuff that they're doing on the show.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah. People, wake up, people. Yeah. Anyways.
Alex Jones here. Tell you about the globalist plan.
Here's the idea, folks. I've changed my views. Everything's cool. Watch the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Batwoman. This has been a fake Alex Jones here on the show. Bye bye. Okay. Anyway, so what we're gonna do here is basically go back to the plot.
Yeah.
So he's not willing to help them.
Right.
And then there's a scene outside where they're just basically fighting in the like verbally fighting, not like physically fighting,
Right.
in the street in front of Bradley's house, and cops come to try to break up this argument.
Right.
And for some reason, they need like 4 cop cars or something. And then they realize who Sam is, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but they were more focused on Sam. They were asking Bucky, like, "Is this guy bothering you?" and shit like that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of racism there. But that never happens in the real world.
No, don't bring politics in. And plus, too, like, it was only once they realized that he was Falcon. I mean, he was just like going to be any irregular black guy. That would have been a much different situation.
They could have shot him.
Yeah.
Because that's how situations happen, like George Floyd and other things. Sure, I mean, but he was trying to steal something, so it's different. Anyway, so that's what people will say. But
yeah.
So back to the show. I think I'm getting a little bit too political here. So, who peed my cereal? Anyways, they end up actually arresting Bucky because he had missed his court-mandated therapy.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he's released on bail after John Walker intervenes. And he again asks Barnes and Wilson to work with him. And then basically they say no. Walker says, basically stay the fuck out of my way, sort of thing. Then.
Yeah, that got weird. Like, it was ominous. The music got really ominous too when he said, stay out of my way. And it's like, uh-oh.
And
like, so he's got the nice guy trademark attitude where it's like nice up to a point, but when you reject him too many times, then he shows his true character,
It's like, I'm nice if you can help me, but if you can't help me,
yeah,
fuck you, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have there's a nice little therapy session.
Yeah, you got the what I like to call is the Sam and Buck-Ann of it all. Sam and Diane is a reference to no one knows. No one under our age knows that.
Yeah.
But I was proud of myself when I came up with that. I'm like, oh, Sam and Buck-Ann, I like it.
Yeah. So they've got this like whole like back and forth sort of thing, and they're forced to like look each other in the eyes and do all this other therapy bullshit. But a lot comes out in that actually.
Yeah.
Basically boils down to the fact that they are pissed off at each other for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And with Bucky being mostly mad because Sam gave up the shield, and then and then it comes out that basically the reason he's upset is because Steve picked Sam for the shield and had faith in him. And so if Steve was wrong about that, then he must have been wrong about Bucky. So it's more about himself than it is about Sam, in a way. He's like, he's projecting the whole thing. Where it's like, now he's like, was Steve right at all, basically, is what he's going through in his head.
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense, because especially where, Steve forgave Bucky for all the shit that he did. And realized that at his heart, Bucky's a good guy.
Yeah.
And had no control over what he was doing.
No, he didn't. I mean, he was completely programmed. I mean, that's because Bucky, I mean, if it's been a while since anyone's seen Captain America, the First Avenger, Bucky was in the service before Steve was. Steve kind of followed him almost, to join him, kind of. So, without Bucky, there would have been no Captain America, essentially. So,
and I mean, it boils down to the fact that he's also just pissed at the fact that Sam gave up the shield, and he thought Sam was worthy of the shield, but Sam still doesn't think that he is. And it's like to the point where it's like, well, Steve picked you over me. Was he? You know, there's probably some jealousy there too. You know.
Yeah.
Even though he's come to grips with it and understands why he can't be the new Captain America, but he wants
Right.
but he wants Sam to be the new Captain America because he even though they hate each other, he trusts him, you know, and he thinks that he's the good guy, you know. They don't really hate each other, but they have that love-hate, you know, Sam and Diane thing, like you said.
Yeah, the Sam and Buck. Well, it's kind of because they kind of had like almost like a sibling rivalry with each other because like I think they both kind of wanted to be Steve's best friend, sort of.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bucky was originally his best friend, but then Sam became like his new best friend, kind of, you know. And then, yeah.
And in a lot of ways, they're both like parts of Steve, you know, in a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like their influence in their lives are from Steve. So after that, and then they're released, and they basically tell Walker off that they're not going to help him. We have a scene where the Flag Smashers escape by airplane. One of them buys them some time by fighting what is known as the Power Broker, his minions, and he's basically killed. And we hear somebody say, you know, they escaped. We couldn't get them.
Yeah, and that's the interesting about that. So, like, to be honest, I actually kind of agree with the Flag Smashers. Because for one thing, they haven't really done that much wrong. I mean, they robbed a bank. They didn't really kill anyone, I don't think, as far as I know.
Their motives are pure. I mean, it's not like they're doing anything. What they believe in, because like any true quote unquote villain, they're not really a villain.
Right.
In their own minds, and in this case, I agree with them too. But it's also like the creator of the show said that there's going to be several different villains, and sometimes different people in the audience are going to agree with all of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just for me, because like, plus too, you know, like, you know, want to get all political again, but you know, this is our show. We do whatever we want in the show, so it's not. We don't have to follow a specific format, but like, you know, I take that shit really seriously because, like, you know, I mean, like, I'm a quote unquote complicated person. I mean, not really, but like in my mind, I kind of am. Where, and so like what's the word I'm looking for? I got introduced to the idea of world citizenship way back in like 2003 from the Baha'i religious community, because there's, you know, a lot of Baha'is used to have like a sticker that said world citizen on it, and and I got one of those. Someone gave me, I think you gave me that actually, maybe it was that someone, I don't know, someone gave me a sticker that said world citizen on it, and
I still have a bunch of those, so yeah,
they're really cool stickers. I like them, and basically it's because, you know, the Baha'i religion teaches about the oneness of humanity, and eventually over time, not going to happen, you know, next year, next month, whatever. Well, next month, next year, but that, you know, at some point in the future, the world is going to be unified in some sense of like a super state. This doesn't mean a one world government like Alex Jones sees globalism. No, not like that. But like it would almost kind of like how.
But will there be gay frogs?
Almost kind of like almost kind of how now states are part of a country. Basically, countries would be like the equivalent of states are now. Essentially. That's pretty much what.
But regardless, that idea is basically similar to what the Flag Smashers want in a certain way.
Right, and of course later on, I that was like my starting point, and then over time I got more into like political stuff, like anarchism, communism. You know, I know people think these words are scary, but you know, these ideologies are very much based on the idea of internationalism. You know, the idea that, you know, people across the world, you know, we're actually brothers and sisters. We have more in common with each other than we do with our own governments, and our governments are the ones that tell us to go hate this people from this country, and because they want something from us. You know, so like the phrase that these flag smashers have is "one world, one people." And I'm like, yes, you know, like.
Yeah, I know it's kind of interesting idea, and I mean, to agree with it is not wrong. I mean, and it's what it is, and I mean, it's just we live in a very complicated world, you know, where some people might be on the same side but not realize they're on the same side.
Yeah, or they might have a disagreement over tactics, which,
yeah,
you know, people always freak out about. Like, you know, it's like, oh well, you believe in, you know, going this direction, I believe, so now we're gonna split off because of that, you know, minor difference or whatever. You know? It's like, come on.
So at the end of this episode, Sam suggests that they visit an imprisoned Helmut Zemo in Berlin to help gather intelligence on the Flag Smashers. And that's another thing. They're kind of like, I don't know, Clarice Starling it, you know, where they're going to talk to the Hannibal Lecter here. And, you know, so we'll see what happens in the next episode, and see if they, you know, get the information that they want out of Helmut Zemo.
I forgot who that guy is. Is that dude from Civil War?
Yeah, he was a villain in that. One of the villains. Yeah. And
what was his deal? He didn't want super soldiers or superheroes or something like that, or.
All right, Helmut Zemo, who is based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, aka Baron Zemo. He was first introduced in Civil War. Zemo is a colonel from the elite Sokovian commando unit and seeks to avenge his family's death during the Avengers battle with Ultron. He uses the United Nations Sokovia Accords to his advantage, and despite Steve Rogers learning about his plans, he manages to pit Iron Man and Captain America against each other by framing the Winter Soldier for a bombing in Vienna, which killed T'Chaka. That was T'Challa's dad, and revealing that the Winter Soldier had killed Tony Stark's parents while under Hydra's control, effectively fracturing the Avengers. With his goal complete, Zemo attempts to commit suicide, but is stopped by T'Challa and taken into custody by the authorities. Everett Ross supervises his incarceration, where he mocks Zemo for failing in his efforts, but Zemo indicates otherwise. Zemo returns now on this series here, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now I remember. I only saw Captain America Civil War once. I loved it, but I never watched it again for whatever reason. Yeah, that reminded me too of like how even in Endgame, I don't think Tony really completely forgave Steve probably until like the very end of the movie, because I remember that movie was just so good because there's so many layers to the relationship that they had. And I remember specifically when Tony first gets rescued by Captain Marvel and he's like getting his vitals checked and everything, and he's just going on about like, you remember I had a dream about this, talking about a suit of armor around the world, and you said no. He said, we'll fight together, and I said we'll lose, and then he says, oh, we'll do that together too. Well, we lost, and then he just goes on this whole thing. But then, like, at the very end of his rant, I never really understood this until recently, because he says, no trust, liar. And it was like, what does that got to do with what he's talking about? But now I'm thinking he's probably talking about, the fact that he kept that from, the fact that Bucky killed his parents,
Yeah.
It was just very, like, a lot of nuance.
Very, very complicated.
Yeah.
Did you want to take a break and then we can talk about our speculation and some other things, like some trivia and stuff about this episode?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back, folks.
It's the ninja from the Ask the Angry Ninja Show saying, come listen to the show. We got the ninja wife to give you your movie reviews. We got the conscript to give you the ninja news. And we got the battle to talk about your sports. And as always, it is the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. So ask me a question, and we'll give you the ninja knowledge you need for your ninja life. Search for us anywhere you get your podcast from. Just search for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show and enjoy the show.
And we are back. Yeah, so we did forget to talk about, what was it that you wanted to mention, Matt?
Oh, just like, the Flag Smashers are basically, like, staying at, like, a safe house. Because, like, in I think it was still in Munich, I think, yeah. Because, and that revealed that, like, a lot of people agree with them, like, around the world. Like they're, like, apparently, like, they're underground, but, like, there's still a lot of people who, like what they're doing. So, like, we still don't really know, like, the extent of how chaotic the world is now that everyone has returned. So, like, we hear about how a lot of people actually, you know, over the past 5 years have gotten used to the new normal, and now everything's just thrown back into disarray for the second time, essentially. And so we don't really know exactly what's really going on, but apparently it's really complicated because, like, people's citizenship are being thrown into, like, question and just all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah.
this person basically let them stay, like, at his house and made a bunch of food for them, gave them internet access, made up a bunch of beds for them. And, you know, they're very grateful for this too. It's like they you know, like, they truly believe what they're doing. Like, they're not arrogant. They're not, like, they don't act like villains. Like, they, like, super grateful that this guy and his wife cooked a bunch of food for them, gave them beds, internet, all that kind of stuff, you know. And Morgenthau gets a text saying, "You took what was mine. I'm going to find you and kill you." And that's probably the power broker. And,
yeah, I think it said that on the screen even or something. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll find out more about the power broker. I got a little bit in the trivia here too about that. It's okay if I read the trivia now, Matt?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay, so here's some trivia that I found on the Internet Movie Database. The song playing for John Walker in the stadium at the beginning is a marching band version of Star Spangled Man, which is also the title of this episode. The song, written by Alan Menken and performed for Steve Rogers' USO tour during World War II in Captain America: First Avenger. Bucky says he's called the White Wolf. This is a nickname that was given to him by local children while he was recuperating in Wakanda, as revealed in Black Panther's post-credit scene. This is the first appearance of Isaiah Bradley. In the comics, Isaiah was one of a group of African-American soldiers who were the first test subjects in an attempt to recreate Project Rebirth that gave Steve Rogers his enhancements. Unfortunately, while Bradley's treatment appeared successful enough for him to emulate Captain America, he also suffered the usual failures to recreate Dr. Erskine's work, and his mind was badly affected. And I just want to mention something, too, that Stanley Tucci played Dr. Erskine in the original movie. And he's a bald man. A British newspaper recently announced that Prince William is the sexiest bald man alive. I argue it's Stanley Tucci. So that's just my little thing here. I'm just saying. Okay, so this is the first appearance of Lamar Hoskins in the comics. When John Walker was recruited to replace Steve Rogers, Hoskin was recruited with him to become his sidekick, Bucky, with an equivalent costume. However, when readers wrote to tell writer Mark Grunwald that Buck was a common racial slur against African Americans, Grunwald wrote a correction where another African American soldier tells Hoskins that same fact, with some comments about the condescending imagery of him imitating a white teenager from the 1940s. In response, Hoskins adopts the new identity, Battlestar. So that's where that came from.
I guess, yeah, it reminds me of Ronald Reagan when he used to do like racist dog whistles, where he'd be like, welfare, young bucks eating T-bone steaks or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, yeah.
So Carl Lumbly plays Isaiah Bradley, and he's no stranger to the superhero world. Besides playing the lead costume superhero in the Mantis TV movie and TV series, he was also in Altered Carbon with Anthony Mackie, and played voice roles in numerous games and cartoons for both Marvel and DC. He also played the father of John Jones on Supergirl. So, there we go.
Oh.
Yep. For several seasons on that show. I'm blanking on the character's name on that show, but yeah, he's a really good actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that character. Oh, what is his name on that? Damn it. Oh, well, I don't remember either.
Yeah. It's okay. You can look it up,
It's
folks.
okay. I remember the god that they worshipped. I don't remember his name. Haranmir is the god of the Martians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's some spoilers trivia for this episode. We got Carly Morgenthau is played by Aaron Kellyman. Is a new rendition of Carl Morgenthau, the original Flag Smasher who first appeared in Captain America 312. The Flag Smashers flee to escape the minions of the Power Broker. In the comics, the Power Broker was a criminal business entrepreneur who clandestinely offered the service of body enhancement treatment that could give recipients super strength, but at a hidden cost of a high rate of serious adverse reactions that could lead to grotesque body distortions. One of the recipients was John Walker, who received it to become Super Patriot. In this series, since Walker was able to fight the enhanced Flag Smashers with some effect, that suggests that he received a similar treatment, to which could explain how he was able to have an extraordinary military service record of 3 Medals of Honor. Yep. So I do have a feeling that he's got superpowers, and I also think that that Hoskins does as well. In the last scene, Zemo's prison cell number is 2187. This is the same number as Princess Leia's prison cell in Star Wars: A New Hope.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a little bit there. So, do you have any speculation as where you think this show's going here? Like anything you're looking forward to seeing or hoping happens?
Well, I kind of hope that they're going to circle back to Bucky, basically telling his neighbor that he's the one that killed the son, but probably won't happen for a while.
Well, there's only 6 episodes of this show, I believe.
Six or
7 episodes. I think 6. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at some point in the next couple, maybe. But yeah, I think there's definitely just going to be a conflict between Sam and Bucky and John and Lamar, and it's going to be basically like the old and the new, but it's like it's not. I mean, that's how they're going to frame it, as the old versus the new, but it's really more of the authentic and the inauthentic, At this point, I don't really know if John Walker's going to go the route of being like the super patriot, right-wing dude. I mean, he sounds like he might be, but it also could be that he's nervous about trying to fill the shoes, of Steve Rogers, and so he might just be like really.
Yeah, I mean, there are some layers here too. I mean, I'm not trying to be surface, and say like, well, I have a black friend sort of thing, but his best friend is a black guy, and his wife is a black woman as well. So.
Right. So
I don't know if the race thing is necessarily his point of view, even though he's an Aryan-looking dude. It's like
right.
The whole. But I think that might be what the government's going for, but not necessarily what he feels in his heart.
Yeah. So I can sort of see this going in one of two ways. Is that either he's going to completely go hardcore right wing, because maybe his wife gets killed or something, so he's just going to be like, nationalism, gotta kill these flag smashers, or if it's gonna be like he might actually, who knows, it might actually subvert expectations, and that he might actually become the new Captain America, and Sam might actually think that he's okay for the job. Who knows what's going to happen? But like,
well, sorry to spoil things.
Oh, you know? Oh shit.
No, I don't know everything. I do know one thing.
What is that?
I'm pretty positive Sam's going to become Captain America before the end of the series.
Okay.
Because
that would be...
because there has been a toy leaked.
Oh, okay.
Of him dressed in the Captain America outfit.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can see this going a lot of different ways. Maybe John will become a villain, because I know that I think in the comic books his girlfriend or wife does get killed. I think, and that's what kind of spurs him on.
I think it's his parents at one point.
Parents,
his parents get killed, and that stirs up things. But there's also he's a villain and an anti-hero and a good guy all throughout the series. John Walker is
right.
So
yeah, he just his alliances quite a few times.
And like things happen in comic books where people change over time, and it's decades and years. The whole thing. It'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it'd be cool if he becomes a good guy and then becomes like Super Patriot or Star Spangled Man or something, or whatever they want to call him, something. Yeah. One of these other characters that's a good guy,
one of these good guys.
Yeah, or he could just be killed off before the end of the series. Who knows? I'm not sure. God. We never know what's going to happen. He could he could grow a third arm for all I know.
He could, and it got more arms. See,
then he'd be the guy with the arms.
Yeah, the guy with the arms, just like we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
No, but like also too, like you mentioned about his best friend being Lamar. Well, I think they may have been friends even before they went off to like West Point or whatever. Because Lamar at one point says like that's why you failed drama class.
Yeah.
So maybe they actually went to school together before that. I don't know.
Yeah,
or maybe he just said that.
Yeah. Or maybe he just knew that about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where the show goes, and I hope it is. If you're listening to this and you have any ideas of where you think things are going, or what you'd like to see happen, or any thoughts on what we've said here, or anything we missed, you can message me at mike@cullenpark.com, or go to our Facebook page, which you can get to at alltooreal2.com. Just let us know what you think, or join our Facebook group as well. That's a good place to do that, or tweet me at Cullen Park.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I don't know what the actual ad is, but you'll find it. I have faith in our listeners. Make sure you go out and give us a good review. I'd like that, because that'll help people find our show. People like my friend Howard at work, who I said I'd give a shout out on this.
Hi, Howard.
Hey, I don't know if he's listening to this episode, but I said I'd give him one on one of our episodes, and I don't even know if he watches Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but hey, I did it. So there we go. But here we, just, make sure you stay good to each other, people. Wear a mask. Wear a condom. Be kind. Rewind. Don't litter.
Yeah, don't litter.
No shirt, no shoes, no service. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
you can listen to this podcast all you want without your shirt on. I don't care. Anyways, or your shoes. I'm not wearing shoes right now. So, it's all good. So yeah, like I said, be good, people. Matt, you be good to people too, okay?
I will. I'll try.
Okay, promise me.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I promise.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.